Want to welcome everybody. It's 10 o'clock. I don't see anybody, but maybe other people will drift in. This is our first. I did run some workshops about a couple of years ago for people who came to me with what they call, abduction trauma. Okay. Uh, and technically, I'd call it a CE-5. Okay, which is an abduction. And they were suffering from all the symptoms of what we call PTSD or PTSS now. Okay, post traumatic stress syndrome, as opposed to disorder. It's the same difference. It's just a new label. And the reason they came to me was that they had gone to regular shrinks and psychiatrists. And of course, the psychiatrist immediately said, "You're psychotic. We're putting you on meds." Okay. And I said, "Listen, if somebody went to all the effort to find me, contact me, because I'm a specialist in PTSD, okay? I treat mostly cops, combat vets, rape victims, childhood abuse survivors. I mean, I do serious work, okay? Uh, yours truly came back from a dirty little war in a dirty little country, and they called me crazy because in those days, you know, they didn't call it PTSD. They just said you're fucked up. Here's and they gave you these horrible meds. You know what I mean, etc. But anyway, that was Jesus, almost 50 years ago. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, totally.
The world is gone, and again, these people would come to me and they would describe symptoms that are classic post-traumatic stress. And I said, I don't care whether it came in the form of a flying saucer, you know, a Taliban, or a car accident. It's still PTSD. I don't care, and if and if you went to all the work and all the effort to find me and book a session with me, you can't be that crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
said, but and I said, you probably, and I said, I'm just gonna treat what you tell me is the problem, and so you can get a night's sleep and you don't have flashbacks, and you can hold down a job, and you can, hang out with your girlfriend and not scare the shit out of her, you know. And I don't care whether it's flying saucers or not. Okay, I treat the problem. So that was my original workshop. Okay. I'm going back a few years. And what I noticed is over the last, say, 10 years, I've been getting more and more reports of CE-5.
Wow. Cool.
It used to
Awesome.
be like once a year.
Yeah.
Okay, I would get
Wow.
somebody. Now I get at least two people every month.
Wow. That's great. Yeah.
You know,
You're going
that's
through a transition.
I mean, so it's a phenomenon that's now becoming, and I'm just one little guy upstate New York, a little, an old fart, an old shrink, in upstate. So this must be a worldwide problem or issue. So anyway, so that's I just thought you'd like the backstory of who I am and what
Cool.
I
Thank
now.
you.
So basically, I say, well, why don't I just widen the net and just say, okay, how about people who, because everybody's had a slightly different experience. Okay. Some people have just seen, flashing lights in the sky, which is CE2. Okay. You just see you see the object flying through. It's lights, it's flashing lights, or maybe you actually saw, some kind of vehicle or craft. Okay. Well, which is, let's face it, that's, phenomenal. That's a phenomenon in itself, in its own right, but that's CE2. CE3 is the guy got out of the spaceship and said hello, right? Okay. And now CE4 is the abduction, and CE5 is what, Stephen Greer is into, which is actually
Right.
making us initiating contact. Okay.
Right.
So like I said, so I thought I'd widen the net, and instead of just treating, me just doing my usual professional gig of treating people who come to me in pain and suffering, why not just widen the net to everybody who's had some kind of an experience? Okay, so that's why I figure have this going on once a week, and people can check in. Nobody's keeping score. You know what I mean? It's not like we're saying, "Well, I saw more flying saucers than you did." Nah, 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 uh, you know, we're not going to do that. Now, if somebody does come on and they have, problem, they have depression or they have symptoms, obviously we're going to go to, I'll say, okay, well, why don't you and I have a private chat, because obviously you don't, if you got a real problem, you don't want to be talking about it in front of the whole universe. Okay. But anyway, so that's my thought. This is the first night. We'll be doing this every week, 10 o'clock. I just figured 10 o'clock, it's past prime time, it's quiet, and, the kids are in bed or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's a good time, I'm not looking for prime time TV, 8 o'clock Saturday night. I don't have to be there. You know what I mean? So whoever's interested shows up. So, having said that, why don't you kind of introduce yourself, Chris? Tell me about yourself and how you got involved in all this.
Great.
Are you in MUFON? Are you a member of MUFON?
No, I'm definitely into Stephen Greer's work. We kind of similarly have the same path back in the day. In fact, we were born like a month apart from each other.
Uh-huh.
I really enjoy his truth, his background in the Baha'i faith, as well as transcendental meditation. All those things, we have such a parallel with those experiences. And then, of course, the actual physical experience of seeing the CE-2 situations when I was younger. But it's just so it's so true and it's so right. I believe, definitely, I know that we are part of a galactic or universal oneness, and it's nice to hang with people that feel the same way. So that's why I'm here. I've been to
Cool.
some of his lectures, so it's great.
Oh yeah, no, I
Yeah,
think he's an interesting person, and the fact that
yeah.
he's gone out there and tried to put people on the spot, but
I think it's wonderful. Yeah.
but I mean, I'm surprised, let's face it, he's touching on, let's put it this way, he's rattling a lot of cages,
Oh, I
and
know.
and these
Chris
are
will do
not,
that.
yeah, these are not funny people, you know what I'm saying? These
No.
are these are not happy people. These are people who play for keeps. So I say to him, well, better you than me. I mean, that's why, in a sense, I just stick to my thing. Is just somebody comes to me and asks for help, then I do the help. But I'm not about to be a martyr or anything.
No.
Well, you
Nah.
know.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
again, you were talking about a childhood experience or when you were younger. I'll share with you. I mean, this is my only UFO story other than CE2s. I actually had what I would call a CE 2.5. Okay.
Oh,
And
wow.
what it was I went to college in the UK. Okay.
All right.
And
Wow.
this was again 50 years ago. And
Yeah. Join the club.
right. And there was a place called Grantchester Meadows, which actually is the name of a very famous song by the Pink Floyd. Okay,
Oh,
Grantchester
cool.
Meadows.
Yeah. Go
And
Pink Floyd.
basically, me and another American couple, me, my wife, and another American couple who were at Cambridge, uh, we had decided to have a picnic. Okay, and of
All
course
right.
we had a nice little picnic, and I had my little camera and we were taking pictures of each other. Of course, we were, back in those days, this was the '60s, right? And we were,
Yeah, man. Those cameras.
and then we were
Kodak.
smoking, we were smoking these monster weeds, you know.
Oh, and the weed wasn't that good back then either.
It
Pretty
was good.
harsh.
It was good enough. It was good enough.
Okay. All right.
And in the UK, it was mostly hashish anyway.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'm pretty mellow, and I'm kind of sitting with I'm sitting facing one direction, and everybody else is facing, shall we say, the opposite direction. We're not all looking at the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I was basically
Yeah.
looking at my wife, and then I was looking at the couple, but it's really behind them, I'd say about 150 yards. I saw that kind of iridescent, that kind of iridescent, like a mirage
Yes.
things
Mhm.
start to happen. Okay.
Whoa.
And
Yeah.
like a door opening up, okay, a kind of a door opening up, a tall, thin, shadowy, gray like figure comes
Awesome.
out, walks 100 yards, and then another shimmering thing opened, in
Yeah.
a shimmering shape.
Sure.
Again, you couldn't see anything except this shimmering mirage-like stuff.
Yes. Yeah. They were like
And
in
then,
a halfway state between dimensions.
like I
Yeah.
said, he kind of,
Cool.
and then the door opened up there, and he walks in, and that's all I saw.
Oh,
Okay.
cool.
Now
Yeah.
I was totally stoned. We had been tripping the night before, and I kind of said to myself, and back then, you know, nobody was, and the UFO thing was really tiny. You know what I mean? There was hardly anybody. I'm
Yeah.
talking
Totally
60.
understand.
Yeah, so I just kind of went,
Yeah.
I'm fucked up, and I'm just seeing shit.
Yeah. Totally.
Anyway, flash forward, knowing what I knew now, and
Right.
and especially since the very, the Betty Thomas, and what was the husband's name? The Thomases, the one the movie was made out of, the African American and the white woman
Oh,
who
I
wrote.
don't remember. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't.
It's a very famous movie, which was made in the 70s. Okay. And then I
Okay.
started to put it together. I said, my gosh, I've had and then of course, when Close Encounters came out, I said, my gosh, I had a
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
CE2 experience. I never really thought about it
Wow.
other than, wow, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, Now, I have joined various groups now, and we go sit on mountaintops with night goggles, and we see shit flying around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure do.
So this
Yeah.
this stuff now, whether again today, I still don't know. What I'm seeing is stealth vehicles, man-made stealth vehicles made
It's a
by us.
combination, man. Yeah. It's a
Uh,
combination of things.
Now, whether it's just our own advanced technology or we've reversed something that crash landed,
Right.
we've
Right.
reversed
Right.
engineered something, or we got it working again, you know,
Right.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
whether it's the real ET device that's flashing. I don't know, but I see, like I said, there are certain mountains where I live where there's a lot of activity,
Oh, that's cool.
and so
Good for
we
you.
go, we do go out and we see stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, to this
Awesome.
day, with the group that I'm with, all we've ever done is see the stuff in the sky with the night goggles.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
nothing's
that's
landed, and I've
yeah.
yet to do the sort of thing that Sirius does with invoking or
Yeah.
calling them
I know
up
what you
or
mean. No worries.
meditating, inviting them. I've yet to do that, but
Oh, that's so
like I
cool.
said, I'm just sharing with you my own experience.
That's great.
So,
That's
what?
wonderful.
So what happened? You said you had an experience when you were younger. You actually saw
Oh,
something. What?
numerous times seeing just like you out at night in the oh gosh, yeah, well, mid 60s actually. First time I was with my two twin brothers and my twin sister. We have two sets of twins in our family, and we were out playing in the yard, and sure enough, a craft silently floated by casually, and we're going, "Whoa!" what's that all about? You know, just kind of drifted by and disappeared. Wow. And then later, when I was, say, in my college years, at night, just checking out the sky at night, and sure enough, just obvious, not satellite, not a plane, none of that. It's three objects coming in from the west, getting bigger and big, glowing bigger and bigger and bigger, then going at a 90-degree angle quickly off into the south, and you're
I
going,
mean,
whoa.
doing non-aerodynamic kind of maneuvers.
Affirmative. Just you're going, oh my God, that's
Right.
awesome. And then it happened a couple of times. So yeah, I just know that we're definitely. It doesn't make any sense that we're the only living entities in the universe. It just doesn't make any sense at all. I think there's multi civilizations, as well as multi-dimensional situations.
Well, and
It's all great.
that's I totally, there's a lot we don't know. I mean, I
I
will
know
say,
exactly.
we know there's a lot we know barely 10% of what's going on. I mean,
I
we're
totally understand. I totally agree with you. Totally.
we're only a few hundred years ago. We're only a few hundred years from being cave people ourselves.
I know, really.
It's only
It's
been a
just a
few hundred
wonderful thing. I
years.
just love our reality, and we're evolving, not only individually but as a collective, and I think it's great. And this is a great transition time. Holy crap!
Mhm.
It just blows my mind what we're doing now.
Well,
What we're
are you a member of any groups? Have you ever joined any of the groups to either go out and check things out?
CE-5. Yeah, I've got the software, man, on my smartphone, and I haven't had the time. I'm a teacher. I teach at a holistic school, bodywork modalities, and I'm also an administrator. So I've just been working really hard. So I hadn't had the time to go out with a group, and someday I want to do that. It'd be
Well,
awesome.
is it something you have to kind of keep quiet so that you don't get ridiculed or get fired or
No,
something?
not at all. Not here in Southern California, man.
Oh,
We've got
okay.
a lot of people that are very accepting of all that. They're very
Right.
open. Yeah, yeah. We're not. This is definitely
Yeah, if you were in the
very
Bible Belt, you'd have to be careful, I guess.
affirmative. Affirmative.
Yeah.
Oh
Well, one of
shoot.
the
Where are
things that
you? Where do you live?
I'm
Where's your
upstate New
location?
York. I'm upstate
Oh,
New
you're
York
upstate New York. Okay.
in the Catskills. Okay. Well, like I said,
Oh,
we have kind of.
awesome.
I
Yeah.
live on a mountain. I live in a forest. Oh, there's somebody coming in. Okay.
Oh, thank God. Great.
Just admit him.
Awesome.
Hello, Cosmic. Hello, Cosmic. Are you there? Can you hear us? Got his little Amazon window on.
Oh,
Hello, Cosmic. How are you? Can you hear us?
Oh,
Okay. Can you
hello.
hear it? Hello?
How's it going?
Yeah. Oh, okay, fine. Check your now you can hear us and we can hear you.
Yes.
Welcome. This is our first night, so we're getting things refined. We're just introducing ourselves and chatting
Oh,
back
great.
and forth. Okay. Chris
Cool.
was basically relating some of his early experiences. All right. And
we're having a good time.
yeah, we're just chatting away.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
guess uh, basically at this moment, this is just the first night. We're going to meet every Sunday night at 10 o'clock. Okay. And I was explaining to Chris, I had originally started this project a couple of years ago, but it was really a kind of very private, super private for people who had been abducted. So I didn't want to kind of make it public. I wanted
No.
to preserve anonymity. And of course, a lot of these people were in pain and suffering. So this was more of a treatment group, okay, a self-help group. Just so you know who I am, I've been a shrink for a number of years, and I've been treating PTSD. Most of my regular, normal clients are combat vets, cops, firemen, first responders, rape victims. People have post-traumatic stress, and the people that would come to me with CE-5 had the same symptoms. They had post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And I said, and of course I said, well, did you go see a shrink or did you get any help? And they said, well, they told me I was psychotic and I was having delusions. Okay. And I was on drugs or whatever.
What do you do?
And I said, well, frankly, I don't care, because if if you went to the effort to find me and track me down and ask for a session with me, you're not crazy, because that's a lot of hard work. And
That's right.
crazy people don't do that. Okay. And basically, a lot of the CE-5 people came to me with, nightmares, insomnia, flashbacks, anxiety, depression. That's all classic PTSD. Okay. That's whether you got it in Afghanistan, whether you got it in a car accident or fighting a fire, or getting beat up in a fight, or getting raped or whatever. That is classic PTSD. So basically I just said, I don't care whether it came out of a flying saucer or whatever. I'll treat the symptoms and I'll help you. So it was really a very private thing, and I kept it because of just of my ethics, my professional ethics. My clients, what they tell me, that's a secret. You know what I mean? But I decided this time around to open it up and just say anybody who's had any close encounter experience from a CE-2. CE-2 is just seeing the flashing lights in the sky, okay? To CE-5, which is, we were talking about Steve, Greer, invoking or inducing or contacting us, initiating contact with them, okay?
Right.
And also including CE-4 and CE-3, and so this group is public, so it's not a private session, and I will be posting it on the Facebook thing, okay? So this is more kind of chat session, sharing general chit chat. And if you have, and if you're happy to share your own personal experience, you're welcome to. Okay. If you've had a CE-2 or a CE-3. Personally, I've only ever had a CE-2 experience, and it happened a zillion years ago.
CE-2 and a half. CE-2 and a half.
2.5.
It was a 2.5, man.
What's that half for? What's that half?
I was just not being silly. All right, I'll repeat it. I'll repeat it. For your benefit, and then of course I'd love to hear from you, Cosmic.
Yeah.
Okay. I was about. This was about almost 50 years ago. I was going to college in the UK, Cambridge University. I was a Yank at Cambridge, okay, and I was married, and I was hanging out with my wife and and another American couple. We were like a little, we were like the American cluster, the American expats at Cambridge, right?
Yeah, those Yankees.
Okay,
Yankees.
so we're hanging out at a place called Grantchester Meadows. And I don't know if you remember a rock and roll group called the Pink Floyd, but they had a song called Grantchester Meadows.
Pink Floyd,
okay.
Come on.
Okay.
Everybody
so anyway, we're having a little picnic and smoking lots of actually hashish. Okay, 'cause in Europe they roll they roll hashish with tobacco and they make a kind of a joint. They don't have weed. Okay, they use hashish with tobacco, which is actually a North African thing anyway. But anyway, back to the story. So we're all mellow, having had a picnic, and the way everybody's sitting, I'm kind of, my wife is over here, Fred and Mary are over here, and so I'm kind of behind them. I see this mirage, that shimmering, iridescent mirage thing start to happen about 150 feet away. And a kind of like a door opened up, and out comes a tall, thin, grayish figure. There were no features, but I just saw it was dark, long, tall, thin, walk about 100 paces, 150 yards, 150 paces to another shimmering mirage-like thing, and a door open up, walk in, and the door closed, and that was it. That's all I saw. Okay? So
Yeah.
that's a 2 or 2.5, right?
Okay.
That's a 2.5, man.
But
Didn't
this
get the
was
confirmation, but you got everything else.
right. But this was again because we were stoned, we'd been tripping. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
This kind of opened an alternate door for you, man. That's
Right.
all it
But
did.
where I'm going with this is, and back in the '60s, man, it was the war and it was women. There were a lot more important things than UFOs going on. Okay,
Yeah.
at least to my generation. Okay, there was civil rights, there was the war, there was
Big time. Yep.
there was a lot of shit going on, and
I remember.
UFOs, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So anyway, flashing forward to when I saw that Betty, the Hill movie about the Hills, their abduction.
Yes.
Betty and what's the guy's name? Barney? Was it Barney Hill?
I don't
He was
know.
African American and a white woman. They were a couple. They were a married couple, and from New Hampshire, and they made a movie about them. That was like in the '70s.
Wow.
And I said, "Oh my gosh, this was a UFO." I didn't think of it as a UFO experience till I started reading and seeing movies about UFOs. And, obviously, Close Encounters came out. And then, of course, with Stephen Greer and everybody else, and MUFON and all these groups and organizations.
Right.
Now that's where I get to saying, okay, I had a CE 2.5.
Right.
That's great.
And then professionally as a shrink, I've treated, like I said, over the last 10, 20 years, I would get one PTSD patient a year who claimed to have had a CE-5. Okay, 20 years ago. Now it's at least 2 a month.
A CE2?
No, you're CE2. No, CE-5, CE-4, abduction.
Right.
Now, people who've been abducted all have PTSD.
Wow.
They all come to
They
me.
do.
They all come to me suffering with the symptoms: nightmares, flashbacks, anxiety attacks, panic attacks, depression. These are all the classic symptoms. It doesn't matter whether you were in Afghanistan or Iraq or a firefighter or a first responder. Doesn't matter, or a car accident. They're all almost the same symptoms.
Gotcha.
Doesn't matter what the cause was. Your body and your mind, when it has PTSD, reacts in the same way. Okay. And so, and of course, the CE4, the people who were abducted, they went to professional shrinks like me, my colleagues, and of course the colleagues said, "You're psychotic, having a delusion. Here, here's some meds. Shut up and go away." Right?
Right.
That's the standard. That's the standard treatment for somebody who's been abducted today. Okay.
Yeah.
I treat it differently.
Thank God you're there.
I treat it like it's the real deal, and when I get done with you, you no longer have flashbacks, nightmares, panic attacks, anxiety, depression, etc. Okay, that's my job. All right, but there's a much wider spectrum of experience. It's not just all abductions, right? And that's why I'm opening up. That's why this group is here. We're going to meet every Sunday night, 10 o'clock, and I'm happy to make this space available for you guys if you want to share.
Thank you.
Whether you're in MUFON or whether you're in Sirius or whether you're on your own, you're welcome. Okay?
Thank you, brother.
All right. So, Cosmic, tell us your story. Tell us how you got here, or why you're here, or what would you like to share? Whatever you like. No pressure. You're welcome.
All right. All the pressure. Great. Yeah. So my name is Joe Lonesome. I on Facebook I go by my name, Joe Lonesome, but on here I'm Cosmic Fam, and then I have a YouTube channel with some of Greer's stuff and some other things on my Cosmic Fam YouTube channel too. So that's why that's the whole name thing. Anyways, yeah, man, I'm out here in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yeah, Albuquerque.
Okay,
Yeah,
there you go.
definitely an
Yeah.
amazing spot for you know, sightings and a lot of stuff like that, man. New Mexico,
Big
pretty
time.
running whenever it comes to that stuff. So it's a pretty cool, you know, spot to kind of be in. But I'm a filmmaker. I'm a producer. I write as well, and I do Netflix shows as a studio technician as well. But basically, a couple of years, maybe it's 2017. I had not known about Greer yet. I just had an idea. I had an idea just through like personal development books and stuff like that, and higher consciousness, just frame of mind and living. I had an idea that anything that was higher vibrational or could move or could operate higher vibrational, you know, frequency technology like spacecraft or whatnot, they got to be like monks. Like they have to be like very spiritual to do that. Like, because I was like, you know, to enact law of attraction, to enact these things in our lives, in this dimension, in our reality, we have to be somewhat enlightened, you know? And so I kind of applied that to like ETs. I was like, they can't be hostile. They have to be enlightened too, then. And so I kind of put that together. And then a couple of months, maybe a month later or whatever, I went over to my friend's house. My friend had Dr. Greer on, and he said that Dr. Greer just came up on his related videos one day, and that's how he, you know, got a hold of him. And then I started watching him, and I was like, wait, hold on, that's my movie plot. So I was like, that's my movie that I actually just came up with, and this guy Greer is saying that it's true. What? And so that was back in 2017. I just got completely immersed in it and everything. I did my own CE-5, and I had a CE-5 experience. My very first one, solo, at the top of a mountain.
You initiated contact.
I did. I have not had a CE-4. I
wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Trust me, you're not missing you're not missing out, buddy.
Hey, I was just very excited that people were going to be, I don't know, talking today. I really didn't know what this was, you know. I thought you were might have been talking about something interesting, so I just kind of popped in, and I got some time. I got some pizza, and just here eating it with you guys, and so that's kind of my.
Right. Well, definitely you don't listen. The people who come to me with you know, an abduction, they're not happy. They're suffering. Okay.
Oh.
It's not a blissful experience, because usually they're being treated like lab animals.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting dissected, or they're some kind. Usually it's a kidnap, which is, you know, it's a kidnap. It's an abduction. Most often it's some kind of probing, testing, and whoever it is treating us like the way we treat a lab rat.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes there's incisions. Sometimes there's organs removed. Sometimes there's harvesting going on. Apparently they one of the reported things is, you know, they remove female eggs from women. They remove sperm from guys, you know, but and they'll probe any orifice that's going, and some of them will even implant some kind of tracking device. Okay. Now this is stuff I've gotten from clients, female clients and male clients. Okay. And they've all described it's very much a similar thing. Now, none of that is what I'd call a happy, positive spiritual experience from somebody friendly.
Isn't it not that evasive though? It's like they just kind of like.
Well, trust me, getting a probe stuck inside you or having your organs removed is pretty invasive, my friend.
Sure. I mean, but they did it in like a certain way. Didn't they do it in like a certain way?
They have scars.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay. They have scars.
Yeah.
Definitely an incision was made. Now, you know, it's rather it's professionally done. It's not a, it's not a bloody scar. It's sealed up. And you can see, a good job done by a good surgeon, you know? And the tracking devices have been, they're little lumps, and they've been removed by a surgeon, and they're some kind of integrated circuitry, like we chip animals.
Oh, wow. Oh yeah, right. Like
we put little microchips in animals. Well, they're doing the same thing to us. And I'll share another aspect of this. So I personally don't, let's put it this way. I am sure there are nice guys and not so nice guys, because, all right, one of the guys I went to school with was Stephen Hawking. Okay. And I knew him
I remember
before he ALS did him in.
Hawking.
Okay?
Yeah.
I knew him when he was just a party animal. Okay. At Cambridge.
Wow.
And, he already made a name for himself, and he'd already commented on UFOs. He said that whenever a superior technology meets an inferior technology, the inferior technology doesn't do so well. Okay, in other words, when the Europeans, who had moderately more advanced technology than Asians, Africans, South Americans, or Native Americans, North American natives, right? Or Australians, who got decimated and exploited.
Whoops.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
When the, what do you think?
Unevolved.
So here's
individuals taking advantage of others. Yeah.
So, I mean, there may be nice spiritual beings out there, and if you're lucky, and if Stephen Greer is lucky, he may have contacted the nice guys. But trust me, the men and women who come to me weren't oming and chanting, and having a spiritual. They were getting raped. They were getting, harvested. They were getting kidnapped. So I'm not being totally paranoid. I'm just being kind of realistic and saying there's advanced technology out there, advanced species out there, and they're capable of both being, as you say, evolved and spiritual and nice, right? But they're also capable of, taking you off to a lab and removing some of your organs. Okay, and putting a microchip up your nose. Okay, and yeah. I mean, I don't know how much you'd like that happening to you.
I mean, if it was like, non-invasive.
Well, anytime somebody removes an organ from you, that's invasive, my friend.
Yeah,
whether it's done with a laser or a scalpel, I mean, how would you like to wake up one morning and one of your nuts is missing?
I mean, if
you woke up tomorrow morning and one of your nuts is missing, would you call that invasive?
I mean, I'm me, so I'm down to ask questions.
And I'm just asking you, would you consider somebody removing one of your nuts invasive? Yes or no?
If it wasn't swollen, then no.
Well, I mean, invasive. I mean, what if they remove both your nuts?
Oh, man. Man, you know what?
I mean, let's ask you, is rape, is there such a thing as half a rape or a quarter rape, or is there just rape? Are you pregnant or not pregnant? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's move forward. Where I'm going with this is that I think part of this is we have to be, shall we say, mindful. Okay, not paranoid, but mindful that, basically compared to these beings, we're like, we're like lab rats. We're at the level of a mouse or a chicken to them.
Yeah.
All right, they look at us and they go, "Oh, those disgusting earthlings," and they smell so bad, and they got such bad hygiene. Jesus, oh, somebody give them some toilet paper. I mean, that's probably what they think about us, right? You
I
know,
Somewhat,
don't
I'm
know.
sure. I'm sure that
yeah.
there are other aspects of higher dimensional awareness
Yeah.
that
Well,
they
here, all
that
right.
they
I'm
do.
going to follow. I'm going to follow this up. I don't want to scare you or tell you spooky
Well,
stories. But,
I'm
all right.
doing
Here's
my
the
theme
thing.
park tomorrow.
Uh, let's. How about this one? Uh, all these legends about angels and myths about angels and gods and goddesses. Would you? I'd put personally. I would put money on those were how an Iron Age or a Bronze Age one of us, right, would interpret an ET experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fiery chariots,
Yeah,
uh,
sure.
fiery chariots flying through the air, winged horses, angel people with wings. That would be how an Iron Age or a Bronze Age human being, would
Yeah,
interpret or understand what an ET was doing, flying around.
that's
And
right. There you go.
okay,
Makes sense.
all
Yep.
right, those are the angels. So what are the devils and the
Yeah.
demons? Those are the bad guys.
right.
Yeah. Could be.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Those are the not so nice ETs doing the abducting and ripping off samples.
Yeah.
You know,
Could
you
be.
got
I
the
mean, if our mythology only had angels and gods and goddesses, then they're all wonderful and nice and kumbaya, and let's start chanting and let's call some in, right? But there are also devils and demons and kind of nasty bad
Yeah.
gods out there, right?
of
We have
course.
this mythology. So where did that could tell us that there are superior beings, interdimensional beings that are not so nice. That's
Yeah.
my only concern. Like I said, I've dealt with the results of abduction. So I'm not quite kumbaya about all of these people. You know what I mean, or beings,
Yeah,
or whatever you want to call them. I'm
Well,
saying,
what Steve says about all that.
I say that
You know,
some are and some aren't. Right?
yeah, I would
yeah.
say.
You
Well,
know, they
there's a way to definitely, not to cut you off. There's a way to definitely
no,
kind
carry
of
on. I'm listening.
obviously, target which kind of being that you're looking to interact with Dr. Greer's, protocols and stuff like that. That actually targets and only magnifies the higher dimensional beings that are actually on that frequency for those types of things to kind of happen. It'd be like you dialing your mother, and then you getting your best friend. You're like, oh, that dial the right number. Oh, let me dial. No, let me dial again to get my mother. So it's kind of like that. But yeah, if I would say if I was not versed in CE-5, it's fortunately I haven't had any sightings or anything like that. I really wasn't into the subject before my whole movie enlightenment thing back in 2017. But I would say if I was not, and I were to witness something or whatnot, this or that, um, I would not be on the same wavelength as protocols. I mean, I would be on a wavelength of fear, distress, somewhat, future pain.
I think that probably the meditation practice, etc., tunes in to, as you say, a certain frequency, and whoever is likely to be listening to that frequency, okay, and more, and at least going by Stephen Greer's results, those are the good guys. Okay.
Mhm.
And I totally I believe everything he said. I don't disbelieve or disagree with anything Stephen Greer said, and I think he's incredibly brave and courageous because he's rattled a lot of cages. He's
Yeah.
upset, and there's a lot of investment in shutting him up, and he's resisted that for a long time. I mean, we're not talking 2 weeks; it's over 20 years that he's been
Oh,
doing what
yes.
he's doing. So I give him full creds for that. I'm just like I said, I'm kind of more like I said, my buddy Stephen Hawking say, just be a little careful, you know.
Right.
You don't know who, because his comment was actually directed at SETI, because SETI
Mhm.
was the first attempt at
Yeah,
communicating with, and he said,
I remember that setting.
just be careful who you're calling because you don't know who's coming back, who's picking up the phone. You know what I mean? And that was his comment. And mine is saying, well, just be mindful. There's good, just like there's good people and bad people, on this planet, right?
Right.
Let's face it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, there were good Europeans and bad Europeans. There were Europeans that invented the slave trade, the North Atlantic.
Right.
There were European, and then there were Europeans who abolished the slave trade. So you
Yeah.
can't. You know what I'm trying to say here.
Mhm.
So our history is full of monsters and also saints,
Right.
of every,
Yep.
so that's what I'm saying. And the problem, at least, the problem with these guys is they are so far ahead of us. We're like ants or cockroaches or rabbits or mice,
We could,
uh,
we got a ways to go.
right. And
Come
also,
to
Dave,
yes. Mhm.
I mean, even just purely in terms of our brains, you know, our neural capacity. I mean, either it's through knowledge or training or whatever, but on a good day, we barely use 10% of our brains.
Yeah.
What's the other
Amazing.
90% for, and why don't we know how to use it?
Yeah.
It's
You know?
it's
True.
subtle. You got to use it subtly, I guess. And
Right. Yeah.
consciously.
What do you think about the whole business of the Sumerian legends? Have you ever, do you know about that?
I,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
I had not a whole bunch. I've just been kind of previewed to short videos and stuff like that. But obviously, Lemuria, Sumerians, and basically what I know about is that they basically impregnated the next generation of humans, basically, and so we have ET DNA down from the Sumerians.
Well,
So
that's the point I'm asking. Do you think that we are in fact hybrids?
Yes.
And
do I
Yes.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
There's,
for sure.
come on,
Because
we're weird looking, man.
I'm a huge student of the Vedas now that I got into like Greer and everything, and so like just like like looking at the Vedas, looking at like how they lived and just everything that goes into that. I feel like those stories depicted a lot of
all those legends about the Vimanas and the fiery chariots, and then the lasers and atomic bombs, and vast wars.
that too.
Those are as you said, the Vedas, the Maharada Bhata. I can't pronounce it, but you know what I'm talking
I
Bhagavad Gita.
about. Bhagavad Gita, but then there's another
Yeah.
one which is about
Oh, there
Krishna
is. Oh, okay.
and a whole battle. That's it.
Bahabart.
Right. And so that again, there are these legends, and the Sumerian one is that they and of course the Old Testament is all about this business of hybrids.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The angels came down, the horny angels came down, and they ran off with our women, and and that's a hybrid. Now whether
Yeah,
it was done
we're hybrids, man. There's no question
whether
about
it
it.
was done the old-fashioned way
There's
or
no
on a
question.
in a petri
We
dish,
got so much. Yeah.
whether it was done in the old-fashioned way, whether they actually had sex with women or whether they harvested eggs and sperm and cooked it up in a lab, okay? Because that's 6 to 1, half a dozen to the other. But this legend that they created a slave race, a hybrid race to do the hard work for the gods, let's face it, it's not unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's and again, there's some people who say that basically, even though we are more or less descended, we're more or less a kind of a descendant, a line of a mammal descended from apes, quote unquote. There's a big jump. They say there was a big leap from the last ape to us.
Yeah, there
Okay.
was some direct manipulation of our
And they
DNA or
suspect
RNA.
that-
And they've
that's
seen that there's
indicative
a lot of
DNA.
geneticists that look at that and go, hey, that's a man-made, that's artificial. It can't be
Right.
done by
There's a
nature
big
like that.
leap, and there's
Yeah.
a big
Oh,
change
yeah.
in the DNA that
Right.
normally takes
Yeah.
millions of years, tens of millions of years, happen in a matter of a couple 100,000 years.
Right.
So again, so all of this, again, unfortunately, a lot of this is just supposition, because until either our government comes clean, right? All of this stuff is, or until there's some really hard evidence, that they actually show the bodies show the bodies and the craft finally reveal them. A lot of this is supposition, or again, you got these sad redacted documents you get from the Freedom of Information. You can write to the government, you can get all the Roswell documents, except half of them are blacked out.
Right.
That's right.
You can get all the Roswell documents you want. The government will charge you $50 for the printing fee. They'll charge you $50 and they'll send it to you. This big box of documents, and unfortunately, everything is blacked out.
Ain't that the truth?
So,
good night, you guys. I'm gonna hit the sack.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to call it. It's been an hour, so come on.
It was so good seeing you guys. Thanks for being you, and thanks Anthony for providing this forum for us.
Like I said, we'll be back next Thursday, and with your permission, I'm going to post this on the group.
Sure.
As an invitation to everybody to come back next week.
Great.
Okay.
Super.
Is that cool?
All right, Anthony.
Cosmic,
you have a good night, okay, guys?
Happy you met us.
Oh man, it's great. Fantastic.
You're good? Okay. So like I said, I'm just, maybe in future we'll try and get some interesting people on who have more knowledge than you and I have. Maybe a couple
all good,
of
man. Whatever
people, or who knows?
It doesn't really matter.
On,
Yeah, it's great. Whatever transpires or evolves from this is great.
Could I shoot you a possible couple of suggestions for some people who might be good ones to be on this?
I'm completely open. This is not like like I said, I'm just facilitator. I have no pride or ego invested in this. This is just a
wonderful
public service.
Thanks for your time.
So as far as I'm concerned, as long as it's legit and done in good heart and good spirit, I'm open to any suggestion. Facebook, PM me who you think. You've got, who I am on Facebook. So
yeah.
like I said. And again, if there's anybody out there who is suffering from, abduction syndrome, CE-5 abduction, PT, and you haven't been getting any help, send me a private message, and I will, coach you, help you, treat you, show you tools for recovery. It takes about 30 weeks to fully recover, about the same time it takes when I was treating combat vets. Basically, anybody who's been abducted has the same PTSD symptoms as a combat vet. It's almost
if I wake up with no nuts, I'll give you a call.
And on that night, God bless you. I think we've done an hour, so please, guys,
did good, man.
Up on time, okay? Love you all.
Love you guys.
Hey, likewise, man.
All right.
Take care.
All right.
Adios.